What really happened behind the moment that left the entire army speechless and wondering? Was it true that Taehyung was indeed left behind? Why is Jungkook's reaction the center of attention, as if something bigger is happening behind the scenes? Those questions began to fill the timeline just minutes after the short video went viral. There was no apparent context, no explanation from the staff, just one emotional moment that instantly detonated the concerned eye on the footage. Taehyung is seen leaving the backstage area a little late, as if still stuck in his own thoughts. His gaze was blank for a moment, as if he were processing something he hadn't had time to say. ARMY instantly caught those small changes. They always knew when something was out of the ordinary. And when the camera switches on Jungkook, that's where everything changes. His expression was not only surprised, but also contained something that was difficult to explain, between anxious, confused, and as if he wanted to run to Taehyung. Why is he? Once Jungkook's voice sounded faint, almost swallowed by the boisterous noise around him. Fans who slowed down the video claimed to hear a worried tone that rarely appears, especially in public situations. This is where the speculation begins. Does Jungkook really not know what happened to Taehyung? Was there a previous conversation that made the moment feel heavier than usual? When Taehyung finally caught up, his pace seemed doubtful. There was a breath on hold, like someone who had just made a big decision but wasn't ready to say it. ARMY instantly caught the vibe. Some even said that Taehyung's gaze was no longer focused on the crowd, but on Jungkook, as if waiting for a certain reaction. And sure enough, Jungkook turned his head quickly, his eyes widened, and then he seemed to say something that made the fans freeze. "You okay?" That whisper sounded more like a scream in the ARMY's ear, repeating itself over and over again. Not long after that, the tension changed drastically. Taehyung smiled slightly, but the smile was clearly forced, as if trying to ease the worries of Jungkook and the fans watching from afar. Jungkook, who usually switches things up easily, this time seemed unable to hide his emotions. There was one small movement. Jungkook's hand seemed to grab Taehyung's arm, but stopped in the middle of the road. And it was precisely that moment that made the ARMY completely unable to breathe. I guess there's something going on between them that hasn't been revealed yet? Or is this just one of those private moments accidentally captured on camera? The more clips appear, the bigger the question mark hangs. Fans began to devise theories, trying to find clues from every expression, every word, even every step they took. But the longer the moment is analyzed, the more small details that make the situation feel much more emotional than it seems at first glance. In a follow-up video from another angle, Taehyung appears to take a deep breath while looking down, as if trying to calm himself down before rejoining. That simple gesture left many in the ARMY speechless, because Taehyung rarely loses control in public. More surprisingly, seconds after that, Jungkook was seen speaking quickly to one of the staff. His face was tense, different from the relaxed attitude he usually showed. ARMY speculates, did Jungkook ask the staff to confirm Taehyung's condition? Or is there something he knows, but is not ready to share with the public? When the two of them finally stood close together again, the atmosphere felt awkward but full of meaning. Jungkook looked at Taehyung twice, a look not for the camera, not for the fans, but to confirm something. And Taehyung replied with a small smile that did not erase the nervousness previously seen. It wasn't an ordinary moment of cringe or drama. It was a moment of two people trying to hide too much emotion. Other footage shows Jungkook briefly standing closer than usual, as if ready to act if Taehyung again showed emotional instability. The ARMY, realizing this detail, is less and less calm. Why does Jungkook look so protective? Did Taehyung cry before? What really happened backstage? Those questions keep popping up and spreading across social platforms, and then came the most unexpected part. Taehyung was seen muttering something that made Jungkook look down, his expression changing instantly. No one knows for sure what Taehyung said, but fans read his lips and interpreted a variety of possibilities, from "sorry" to "I'm not strong." Whatever the actual sentence, Jungkook's reaction shows that it is not something light. After the incident, Jungkook seemed to be trying to keep his distance for a moment, but not out of anger, rather like someone who is trying to control his own emotions. He was seen rubbing his face several times, a sign that rarely appeared except when he was severely affected by something. Taehyung, on the other hand, walked a little slower, No longer trying to hide the wistful gaze that made ARMY feel an unspoken burden. As they finally sit down and the atmosphere begins to settle down, the camera captures one small but very important moment. Jungkook shifts his position slowly, making sure TAEHYUNG stays within a distance he can reach at any time. The moment was so brief, yet full of subtle attention that it left many of the ARMY feeling a mixture of relief and growing curiosity. When they appeared again a few minutes later, TAEHYUNG looked more stable, but his smile still contained a shiver that couldn't be hidden. Jungkook, despite smiling into the camera, couldn't cover the way he glanced at TAEHYUNG over and over again, as if to make sure that he was still there, still strong, still able to stand up. That moment was so tender yet painful to see, because ARMY knew it wasn't just an interaction for fans. It was a concern born of something deeper, and it was precisely this last moment that left ARMY even more speechless. When the event was over, TAEHYUNG walked towards the exit with slow steps, and Jungkook followed from behind. Not too close, but not too far either. Enough to show that he was still there if TAEHYUNG needed him. The camera captured Jungkook's last look before they exited the frame, and that look was full of worry that no one, not even himself, could hide.